Heartland to do a boot camp to learn exactly how to get into companies, to learn exactly how to teach classes, the purpose of doing it, and in regards to all about education, right? But the thing is, like, I've done all that, but what is the thing that's always been missing when we do something? Like, we're all big on activity, right? We're all big at informing people. We became good at that. What's the end result? What's that? What are we looking for?
Follow up.
Huh?
Follow up.
Results.
Results.
Yeah. Right? Actual results where it actually puts money in your pocket. That's exactly what we're looking for. So there was this one gentleman out in Denver. I can't even remember his name. Who's the gentleman that does a lot of classes out there? Eric. He said, what is the purpose of you teaching the class? Take an appointment. Right? But even then, let's say you have a class of 20 people. You think you can get 20 appointments? No. Well, let's say you do. Let's say you do get 20 appointments. Out of those 20 appointments, how many results you're going to get? It all depends, right? Yeah. So the thing is that you need to learn how to filter and find out exactly who the good ones are and focus on those. So you don't have to do 20 appointments where you can spend 2 hours per appointment. You can spend 40 hours to get 1 or 2 results. Basically, that's what I heard. That's what filtered through my ears. So one of the things that that I've been good at all my life is, it's not that I'm lazy, right? And maybe this is the millennial in me, but I like to work smart. I don't like to work hard. I hate working hard, right? That's one of the reasons why I went to school. I spent out of high school. I didn't want to go to college, so I spent 1 full year working in a factory as a machine operator, material handler, hard labor. I did 1 year. I said, I'll never go back to that. I'm never going to work hard again. That's why I went to school. All right? I don't even change my own oil, even though I do know how to do a little bit of mechanic. I hate getting my hands dirty. My wife says, you're a little foofy. That's what she calls me. Like, you don't like to get your hands dirty. But, that's the reason why, I want to use this muscle up here, the brain. So in my previous profession, when I was a director of accounting for Robert Morris University, when I first took over a department, everything was manual. Everything was literally taking a bunch of data this long and implemented it into a computer. So I was one of the first that said, why in the world would I spend 2 to 3 hours plugging that information if that information is already coming from somewhere? Can't we just take a file and upload it somewhere? So literally within 3 years, my department became automated. And it was kind of like I guess that's one mistake I made in there, was because I went from a staff of 12 to a staff of 6, and now they didn't want to hire no more people because there was enough people, right, to be able to do the job, because everything was automated. But guess what happened once I left? Automation stopped. They had to hire 6 more people just to replace me. But the thing is, like, why can't I do that? Why can't I find a way to work smart here to be able to maximize my time and be more efficient when it comes to, seeing and introducing this to people? Because I tried the old way. I tried doing, driving from one end of the city to the other end of the city, right? Doing full days, 3 to 4 hours per appointment, all to probably not end up the day with no results, all right? So one of the things that I wanted to learn is how to filter. What is a good filtering system to make sure I maximize on my time, okay? So one of the things I started doing is, with the help of, of Shantae, we started coming up with all these documents. Like all these documents that we can pass out, we can actually read, right? Kind of like now we're using the video, right? You should send out a video, right? You read it. If you're interested, then you get back to me. So I started, doing all these documents. She started off with a few of them, and I implemented my own, and I kind of customized things for them. So when I first get a class going, is it hard to get a class? Yeah. Has anybody had a hard time getting a class?
No.
It is hard to get in a class? Really? Why is it hard to tell people, hey, we're doing a financial education class, we're doing a workshop at Oak Brook Financial Center, you're bringing them here and they're doing a class? Is that hard to do?
That's harder.
It's harder, right? No, but the thing is that it shouldn't hard. Home BPMs could be considered a class. You go into your church and you talk to your pastor, you say you want to do a class, you're doing it for free. It's really not that hard if you focus on getting a class going. It really is not, right? Because I've done many classes. One of the things that I've done this year from January till now is I did about 30 workshops already. Wow. I've done 30 workshops. Okay, I didn't do 1, I didn't do 2, right? And then if they go back to last year until now, it's probably close to 60 or maybe even 100. I lost track. Now, was every class full? No, I had some classes where I had one person. I had some classes that had 0 people. I had some classes that had 20. Right? They're all different sizes of classes. Right? I got classes where I had 50 people, nothing happened. Then I had a class of 3 people, and I closed all 3. So the thing is that it all depends. Right? So the thing is that it should not be hard. If you're having a hard time getting people together, getting a class going, then that's a different issue. It shouldn't be that hard to get a class going. It is hard getting into a company organization to allow you to do that. That's a different step altogether, right? That goes over developing relationships over time, right? So I'm gonna just tell you one organization that I got into. Okay, anybody ever heard of a nonprofit called Chicago Latina Moms? Mm-hmm. You guys ever heard of that? No. Well, my wife's a member. Right, it's an online nonprofit. Mm-hmm. These are all either first-time moms or single moms. They just bounce ideas of each other in regards to how to take care of their kids. So one time there was a discussion on college planning. I want to open up an account for my 3-year-old. Anybody get a recommendation exactly what account to open up? Mm-hmm. So Jackie turned on her, the BFG hat and says, you know what? My husband is an instructor for Heartland. We should have him do a class for us. So right away, she didn't even met the president of the organization. The president reached out to my wife, and both together they organized a workshop. Right? So they organized the workshop, and they promoted it. We had about 20 confirmations, right? About 6 people showed up. Mm-hmm. Right? One was my wife, one was her, one was her sister, right? And there was this other 2 people. One was a young girl with her grandma. Right? So actually it was 5 people. 5 people that showed up. Right? But right away, I saw that the one that I needed to get was a director. I didn't care about those other people. I wanted to intrigue the director to actually have more workshops. So once the class was over, my purpose was to get an appointment with her. Right? So I did. So right away I told her, if you want this to work, you need to go through the processes, exactly what was going on. So I was able to get her as a client. That was a pretty nice case. That was actually, that was about 16,000 points with her and her husband and her kids, right? But little did I know, right, I needed to also follow up with the other people, right? So then the next couple I focused on was, I wanted to know what was going on with the young girl and the grandma, right? What was going on there? So the grandma, right, speaks Spanish very, very well. She says, my kids never listen to me. I hope my grandkids listen to me. So I want this knucklehead to sit down with you, right, and to be able to do some planning with you. Well, I followed up with the lady. She never called me back. I followed up with her again. Never called me back. Finally, the 3rd time I reached out to her, she finally called me back. She was actually very busy, but she actually sat down with me, but for a different reason. She was a director of another nonprofit. That's another nonprofit now that I'm involved in, where I'm teaching. So you just never know who's going to be in your classes, all right? But same thing. I told her, hey, listen, if you want me to come teach at your nonprofit, you need to become a client first. So she became a client as well, all right? So the thing is that you always have to identify the people that are going to actually make you bigger. Because honestly, if I didn't get those 2 directors, do you think, or whatever, the head of the organization, do you think I'll be able to get any further with them? No, it's not. And it's all filtering. So here's one way to filter. Okay? Let's see, make sure I get these in English. All right. So Shantae created this. Right? And all she did was send me the Word doc. And all I do is I change the organization. Right? Very strong words. Through our partnership with, and you can put whatever organization you're going into, your church or whatever. Right? We're offering complimentary 30-minute phone consultation to all attendees, right? For what? For all these reasons above, right? I actually go over this form and I read them and I read people to see what their reaction is. Especially in this one. I say 64% of us receive no professional financial advice. I told them, you know what? If you ever got an advice from your neighbor, got an advice from your uncle, you got an advice from your best friend, and they're not in the industry, it's not considered financial advice. Because sometimes the advice they're giving you, right, is not the right kind because they're worse off than you are. And then I get some giggles. So boom, I got a giggle, that's what I got to focus on, because that just happened to them. Okay? So I read that, make sure. So every time I do a bullet point, I make an emphasis, right? I'm making a joke or something to that nature to see what reaction I get. Because that's also, you know, if they're paying attention. Right? How many times have you been in front of the room and you see somebody snoozing? Mm-hmm. You think I'm going to focus on a person that's snoozing? I'll make sure I find out what that person's name is. And I put a little note on the registration so I know exactly who I'm dealing with. I'm not going to focus too much effort on that. So that's filter number one. Okay? So whether you have a small group or a large group, this definitely has been working for me.
That's awesome.
All right? Filter number two. Actually, one of my teammates actually came out with the version of the survey card. Submitted it to Heartland, got it approved, right? I got it in English and Spanish. So, got topics on top.
A little bit, Frank?
It's the really, the, what you call it, the projector, because even if you zoom in, you can't really, well, see if you guys can.
It's a little better.
It's a little better?
Yeah.
Yeah, so on top, you know, I got, you know, the people's name, their phone numbers, their addresses, and email. Do you think they always fill the whole entire thing out?
No.
Sometimes they put their name, sometimes they don't even put their name. Right? So am I going to focus on a person that doesn't put their name? Of course not. But I'm focus on a person that doesn't put their address or even their any of the contact information. How am I going to contact them? Right? So this is also another filter. If I'm teaching a class at an organization, right, or somewhere where I know I'm going to come back, I definitely tell them that to pick a topic of interest. They can pick more than one, because I'm going to give a report to the person who set up the class to see what's the most interested topic was. So when I come back, I'm going to teach another class on that specific topic. So I see exactly who checks what off. Then I have them answer the questions. But I'm not really interested in regards to this. I'm more interested in the information they give me here and the answer to question number 6. Can somebody read me question number 6?
Yes.
Are you interested?
No, read me the question. I didn't say give us your answer.
Are you interested in receiving a free 1-hour consultation with a financial educator? During this time, you will be able to ask questions about your personal financial situation.
So when I go over this with them, I say, hey, listen, if you answer yes to that specific question, expect a phone call from me. If you answer no, I will never bother you. I'm not in the business of bothering people. I just want to help people out.
Yeah.
Another filter. You think I've gotten all questions answered yes?
No.
No. I guess who knows? Right? I'm not looking to help out the world here. I'm just looking to help out the people that actually want the help.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So another filter.
So, Frank,
Yes.
these are organizations that you're coming to consistently, right, to teach classes?
No, well, some are consistently, right? I find classes by referral too. So one of the things that even in the class I tell because they're in the class because of a reason, right? For example, right now the organization that I'm in is I'm in a church, right, in Indiana, that came from a teammate from Lisbon, right? I'm currently at an organization called Chicago Commons. They're a city agency that they've been around since 1869, right? That's where I found the lady with the grandma. I'm right now also through with Shantae, right, through the linguistics department. It's called OLSET. They have a program called BAC for bilingual people in all languages. I just so happen to be working with a department that's Spanish speaking, right? So I've been teaching classes at CPS for parents. For parents, I got the Chicago the Latina Moms organization, and that's where I'm currently living. So it's all people that I found through networking.
So whether or not you come back is determined by the feedback you get.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly, and that's the reason why I said always you have to make sure you get the person in charge, because if you don't get the person in charge, you're not coming back. Yes.
Further clarify, so what you're saying is the process you're describing is once you're into an organization.
Right.
How you don't waste your time, because a lot of times we get into organizations and we just spin our wheels.
Yes.
So you're saying, look, once you're in the door, I implemented these stages of filters so that I'm not wasting time.
Exactly.
But you got to get in the door a million different ways, as long as you're saying get to the person in charge.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
because it doesn't
Just
even have to be.
clarifying that. That
It
makes
doesn't even
sense.
have to be through Harlan, because I know when WSB implemented the workshops, right? I know there's people doing workshops all over the place, right? They were bringing them here. They didn't even know exactly. They were filtering so many people through workshops, but they didn't know what to do with them. They never followed up on them. If they did, they didn't know exactly how to treat them. Right? These are just filters, right, that you can utilize. A class could be a BPM. You could be showing the blue flip chart. You could be showing, our new green flip chart, whatever it is. But you just have to make sure you filter the person to make sure that there isn't even an interest. Because you ever try to not bug a person, but you're really bugging them to the point where like, man, am I really bugging this person? And maybe they might even, block you now or from everywhere and put you on the non-restricted list, or even get a go to the police station and get a restraining order on you. See, that's what you want to avoid, especially with Heartland. Yes.
I think part of the mindset shift here is that, just because you have a pulse doesn't mean you're a good candidate to be taking your time. And you think of what's a filter's job? Like if you're drinking water and you have a filter for that water, what do you want that filter to capture? Dirt. Things that you don't want in your body, right? So why would you try and jam something through the filter? You would never do that. But sometimes we're chasing someone down to try and, hey, come on, don't you want to have an appointment? Don't you have? No, they don't have an appointment. So why are you trying to chase them down? Because they're already filtered themselves out. Thank you. For not taking any more of my time, so I could focus on. That's what he's talking about. It's powerful when you don't be afraid. We have something so great. We don't have to be afraid to let the filtration do its job. And that's what this is. So that's awesome.
Yeah, because I'd rather get a no than a maybe.
Right.
I'd rather get a flat out no, so that way, no, I'm not wasting my time. And there's a lot of people that they'll tell you maybe, and they really mean yes, or maybe not right now. Right, so don't filter those people out. So that's why you always have multiple lists. But one of the nicest filtrations that I have is this one too, is the registration form when they sign in. Right, I created these buckets here on this side, so I know exactly what the interest is. Right, yeah, they give me their name and their email and their phone number, but because we do so much, what are they really interested in? Are they really interested in our college planning program, because I do talk about it? Are they interested in maybe more workshops? Because one of the things that I do on every class that I teach is that, hey, listen, just because you're a part of this organization and I'm giving you this class for free and I'm actually going to give you a consultation for free, doesn't mean you can't take it back home. If you know, right, of another organization that needs it and they need venture workshops, check off that box. Or I'll even do an exception and do it for your family. Let's say you can't get your family to an office, you can't get your family to the church or to another venue, but you want to do it in the comfort of your own home. Go ahead and schedule or organize something, and I'll come out and I'll teach a class for your family. I do that as well, so they'll check off that box. If they're really interested in the consultation, right, they'll check off that box. So when I'm calling them, I know exactly what I'm calling them for. I don't have to spend the time. Again, my name is Francisco Nunez, I'm with the organization, this is what we do. I don't have to spend time that long on the phone. Hey, listen, you attended a workshop, right? You checked off that you're interested in this, right? I'm calling to schedule a meeting with you to discuss that. And then that phone call is going to take me 2 minutes to find out if there's an interest or not. Instead of now spending how many times have you follow up with somebody after you already explained everything to them, and you have to, again, re-explain what they already saw. All right? Do you really have to do that? No, right? So, I'll get another filter. The final filter, all right? This is the one I like the most, right? Now, some of us have been here a while, and, the first people, because we know this so good, who did we go to? Our friends and family, right? Was it hard sometimes to convince certain friends and family of how good it is what we have?
Yeah.
All right? Do you think it gets easier when it's a cold person? It actually gets even harder. So why even try? Why even try to convince? Right? So you shouldn't have to. If I got to the point when I'm in front of these people, I already went through a bunch of filters. My last filter to see if I'm going to close is when I have them fill this out. I have them fill out the top portion. Now, I don't know if you ever used this form, but this is a pretty detailed form. It's a pretty detailed form that asks for driver's license and social security number. If I get a but, or I get a blank in one of those spots, I know it's going to be a hard close. If I get number, especially the Social Security number, I know it's going to be an easy close. So I know exactly how much time to follow up with that person. They give me their social. Do you think they trust me already?
Yep.
Yeah, because some people don't. They're very particular with their social, even their driver's license number. You know. So if I get that info right away on this meeting, on the PFS Collect meeting, I know it's going to be an easy close. If I don't get it, it's going to be a little hard to close. Doesn't mean that you can't close, but this is definitely the last filter. And you always got to do things the right way, right? You always have to make sure you give the right recommendation. Because honestly, I have been coming across a lot of middle to lower income families that they're in the red. They're really in the red. Why would I even recommend anything if they're in the red? You can't even recommend an alpha account at that point in time. So I definitely told them, hey, listen, you need to start working on your spending habits. Remember what we taught in class, all that kind of stuff. But I don't promise I'm going to do it for them. How many times have you promised you're going to be working on somebody, helping them with their debt, and you're reducing this, and helping them, meeting with them often, right? Don't do that. Don't make false promises. Because they'll remember, and they're going to continue calling you, right? Because I did that at the beginning. I said, no, why am I doing that to myself? I don't need to do that, all right? But the thing is that sometimes I have years later, they actually call me back and say, listen, I finally got rid of some debt. I got people like that. You always build you build yourself a good brand, meaning that they know that you're a trustworthy person. You're not gonna steer them wrong, right? You definitely want to help them. They'll call you back. They'll definitely call you back. So this is definitely another. Now, how many times have you sat down with a friend and family and everything went well, all went good, you closed, and then 4 weeks later they cancel,
Yeah.
and you got a chargeback?
Yeah.
Who likes those?
I got some filters for that.
This last filter, I actually got from Pat. This is one of the good tricks I got from Pat. Is I leave behind a blank application. I'm sorry I didn't include that in the packet, right? That's got all the information that you need to write up an account. I tell them, listen, fill this out, and then scan and email it to me. I'll write up an application, I'll email it to you for electronic signature, and then we'll get the ball rolling. So if they don't send me an application back, do you think they really want it? The ones that send it to me back, you think they want it? Yes, they do.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that actually stay in the books. The ones that you actually get an application from them back. But a lot of times we're scared to leave that application behind or leave that appointment without closing the application, right? You know what? You might as well just write on your forehead. Desperate. Honestly, if they see desperate on your forehead, they're going to say, well, maybe this guy's not looking out for my best interest. Right. All I see is dollar signs in their eyes. All right? The close is going to happen because it's going to happen. If you're going to play the convincing game,
Yes.
it's the wrong business to be in. We're not here to convince people. We're not. I played the convincing game many, many years. I got tired of it. Right? Your time's valuable. Their time's valuable. Whose time is more valuable?
Yours.
Exactly. Your time's more valuable. The thing is, the way I think of it nowadays, and actually, it kind of like the transition changed a little bit when I had my youngest son. He's 3 now. I think to myself, do I really want to go out and waste my time on a prospect or a potential lead that might go nowhere, or spend some time with my son? I spend some time with my son. Right? So the thing is that if you do a thorough job with this, and you make some good recommendations, right? You think you're going to close everything in one shot? No, you close it little by little. But you know what's your best friend? Technology. Today I closed another account from a lady I had closed 4 weeks ago. To say, you know what? I'm actually, thanks for the FFIA well, but I think I'm going to take you off from the Term LB as well. So I closed another case today that I already had her info on file because of her first application. So can you email it to me? And I emailed it to her. She sent it right back. I didn't have to leave. That was actually during the Argentina game. I wrote up during the Argentina game. I was watching the game that I wanted to watch, and I still closed business.
That's good.
Is that working hard or working smart?
Smart.
That's working smart. So make sure you guys start using your brain more. All right?
Awesome.
Wasn't that a great training?